Imagine being told you'd never walk again. Trapped in a chair for 15 years, your dreams of freedom shattered forever. General hadn't walked for 15 years until the new black soldier did the impossible. Private Carter, step aside. He doesn't need help. Nyla didn't move. Kneeling on one knee in the soft grass, she held the tensioned straps of the general's knee brace with both hands. Steady, calm, sure. Around her, other soldiers paused their drills. Some whispered, others just stared, unsure what they were witnessing. General Alan Strickland, silver-haired and stone-faced, sat in his wheelchair, stiff in his dark navy dress uniform. His hands rested on his thighs, unmoving. His expression was unreadable. Everyone knew his story. 15 years ago, during a covert deployment overseas, his convoy was hit. The medics said he was lucky to survive. The spinal damage was permanent. No chance of recovery, they said, except the chair. So he did, but Private First Class Nyla Carter, new to the base, hadn't read him like a myth. She read him like a man. "I reviewed your files," she said quietly, adjusting the side strap with care. "Your scans, the scar tissue, the surgeries. You had no clearance to do that," the general said flatly. "I had need," she replied. A murmur rippled through the other soldiers. Nyla was young, mid-20s, slim build, black hair pulled back tight beneath her cap. Her camel fatigues were still new, boots not yet scuffed, no rank beyond private, no stripes, just eyes that didn't flinch. The general narrowed his gaze. "You think, I haven't been examined by the best, sir?" she said evenly. "Sometimes the best get tired of trying." "I haven't." He stared at her, a slow burn rising in his chest. "You're out of line, soldier." But her hands didn't leave the brace. "With respect, sir, your gluteus and quad muscle groups have residual activity. Minimal, yes, but measurable. Your lower motor neurons still fire. That means there's a pathway, weak, but alive." He blinked. That wasn't something his doctors had said in years. Most had stopped saying anything at all. They managed pain, medication, logistics. No one had spoken of possibility in over a decade. She kept going. "You've built a life around the chair. I get it. You've led from it, commanded from it, earned medals from it. But, sir," she paused, tightening the final strap, "you haven't finished what your body wants to do." A long silence stretched. In the background, push-ups continued. Cadets barked drills, but this part of the field stood still. Strickland's jaw worked, his hands tightening slightly on his thighs. "You think I haven't tried to stand? But what if hope wasn't lost? What if one bold move could rewrite your fate? I think you haven't tried again. Not since the last time someone told you to stop hoping," she finally looked up at him, eye to eye. That someone wasn't me. His breathing was steady but deep now. "You presume a lot for a private?" She rose to her feet, but not with arrogance, with conviction. "I was a neuro-rehab tech before enlisting. My unit specialized in retraining damaged systems. I've seen limbs move after years of silence. I've seen spines respond after every scan said no." "And you think my spine is going to obey you?" he said dryly. "I think your mind already has," she said. "Your body's waiting for permission." It wasn't flirtation. It wasn't arrogance. It was truth. And it hit him harder than any speech he'd heard since the injury. He wanted to scoff, to wave her off like the others. But something in her, steadiness, stopped him. She wasn't trying to impress anyone. She hadn't called for attention. She had just stepped in quietly, precisely, and touched a part of him he had buried long ago. The part that remembered wanting to walk, not for pride, but for himself. She looked down at the brace. "We can try static stand therapy with parallel bars. 30 seconds a day, just pressure bearing. Then we'll see." He looked away. "You don't know what it feels like to fall in front of a room of soldiers who once saluted you." "I do," she said, her voice lower now. Not physically, but I know what it feels like to be looked through, to be told not to bother. I've been dismissed my whole life." He turned back slowly. She nodded toward the gym. "Give me 30 days. If I fail, you'll never hear from me again." He studied her. Every instinct in him screamed to protect what little pride he had left. But something inside, something deep, was shifting. And he didn't say yes, but he didn't say no. Instead, with the field watching in silence, he nodded just once. Private Nyla Carter picked up her bag and walked away. But that nod, that was the first step. The next morning, just after 600, General Strickland wheeled into the rehabilitation wing of the base gym. The place had been largely unused since his injury. Dust clung to the equipment like memory. No one greeted him, not out of disrespect, but because no one expected him to come, except one person. Private First Class Nyla Carter was already there. Sleeves rolled up, bars cleaned, tension cords unpacked, and her expression focused. She didn't salute when he entered. He had told her not to. "Braces are warm and ready," she said, nodding toward the padded parallel bars. 30 seconds. That's all. We aim for today." The general didn't answer. He just rolled forward and locked his chair in place. Nyla stepped beside him, attaching stabilizers to his thighs and calves with clinical precision. Her hands moved without hesitation, her tone neither soft nor stern. "Just steady. Tell me if anything feels wrong," she said. "It already does," he muttered. But he let her lift him anyway. With her arm around his back and the braces holding his knees, Strickland gripped the bars. Nyla stayed close, shoulder to shoulder, anchoring his side like a living pillar. "All right," she whispered. "Now bear weight. Just shift." His arms trembled. Pain flashed behind his eyes, but he didn't speak it. She saw it anyway. "Keep breathing." His feet stayed planted, but his knees began to hold. Seconds passed, then 10, then 20. She didn't cheer, didn't count aloud, just breathed with him, staying. Grounded, steady. At 30 seconds, she leaned closer. "Now sit, sir." He collapsed back into the chair, drenched in sweat, not from exertion, from effort, from confronting every piece of fear buried inside his spine. She knelt in front of him. "You did it." He looked down at his legs. "I didn't move. You stood. You bore your own weight," she said, gently tugging off the straps. "Your body remembered. Day after day they met. Some mornings were worse than others. There were days the pain spiked. Days he couldn't sleep the night before. Times he cursed under his breath. And she said nothing. Just handed him a towel and helped him try again. But slowly, what began as 30 seconds became a minute, then 2. By the 3rd week, his hands weren't trembling as much. He could shift his own weight forward. On day 21, Nyla stood back just slightly farther and watched him stabilize without her touch. That night, alone in his quarters, General Strickland looked into the mirror. His face was leaner, his shoulders more defined, but it wasn't his body that surprised him. It was his expression. There was life in his eyes again. Not pride, not vanity, just presence. By the 4th week, they stopped tracking seconds. They began counting steps. 2 on the first day, assisted, clunky, then 4, then 6. One morning, Nyla entered the gym and found the braces already on. Strickland stood at the edge of the bars, waiting. She blinked. He lifted his head. "You're late, Private." She smirked. "Sir, I've been here just watching." That day, he took 10 steps between the bars. The gym staff, once indifferent, now paused during workouts to glance over. A few even clapped, quietly. Word spread. By the time month's end arrived, they held a small ceremony on the field, the same patch of grass where it began. Most soldiers thought it would be another promotion pinning. Instead, they stood stunned as General Strickland rolled forward, locked his wheels, and with effort stood, no bars, no cords, just his cane and her hand. He took one full step forward, turned toward the men, and saluted. Silence blanketed the field. Then it broke. Cheers erupted louder than any graduation. Some soldiers wept openly, others chanted his name. But Strickland only looked at one person, Nyla. He stepped toward her, handed her his cane, and stood tall, shaky, but proud. "You didn't just help me stand," he said. "You reminded me who I was before the chair." She nodded. "He was always still there, sir. Just needed permission." He reached into his jacket and pulled out a small medal. "Civilians don't know this one," he said, "but it's earned by soldiers who restore something broken." He pinned it to her chest. "Not my body," he added, voice shaking, "but my will." She held back tears, but her voice was strong. "I didn't come to fix you. I came to remind you you weren't finished." They stood there, soldier and commander, two uniforms from different worlds, bound not by rank, but by belief. And behind them, a field full of men stood straighter, prouder, because they had witnessed the impossible. Not a man walking again, but a man choosing to. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button to Whisper Fable for more emotional, dramatic, and unexpected tales. And let us know in the comments, where in the world are you watching from? We love hearing from all of you. Until next time, stay kind, stay curious, and keep watching.